Our Farmer Grow Automate Scale, and thank you for signing up for the how parent coaches are enrolling families on repeat. This is a training where I'm going to be breaking down a lot about how to use the advertising platform, how to use Meta, Facebook, Instagram ads to go from content fatigue to full programs, meaning that if you're running live cohorts where you're having a group of 15, 20, 30, 40, or 50 parents that you're looking to see that your programs are getting filled up. If you're doing a course, you're getting consistent course sales along the way. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. I don't want to waste any more time, and we're just gonna dive right in. Okay. So if you have any questions or comments, don't forget to shoot us an email, and I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as possible. Okay. So let's first of all let's go ahead and start diving in. Right. So who this is for? This is for parenting coaches who want consistent enrollments without posting nonstop. And when I say nonstop, I mean that you're posting multiple times per day, you're in stories multiple times per day, you're in DMs multiple times per day, and you're also going across cross attribution, meaning that you're also trying to post on Facebook, on Instagram, maybe on YouTube and TikTok, and you're starting to feel like, man, my time is getting less and less, and I'm doing more of just posting and posting, all for the algorithm just to show my content less and less. And you may have a piece here and there that kind of takes off a little bit more, but if you're having a lot of followers, you look at how much views you're getting, there's a big mismatch. And that's been an experience for a lot of our clients and a lot of people I've been talking to, especially in the parenting niche, that is very, very sporadic in terms of the content actually delivering results. And we want to start changing that. We want to have a system that's more predictable. So if this is also for you if you're looking to have more of a predictable system for your marketing. So let's dive in first to some of the big problems that we come across with across the industry. Okay, and one of the biggest things that often happens is content fatigue, right? So content fatigue meaning that two things. One, you're getting fatigued from creating content, and number two, you put a piece of content up. And after about 48 hours, the content fatigues, meaning that it's not being pushed out. You're not seeing the engagement. You're not seeing the comments. It just starts dwindling down very, very, very quickly. And it's just a fatiguing experience because now you're spending time trying to think up of what to create. You create it and it's just boom, it's gone. It doesn't even produce any type of long-term results. The next thing is unpredictable launches. And you may be in the launch cycle. And this is often at the very beginning phases of a coaching journey that where we're seeing that people are they're launching, but what happens is that during the launches, that is very unpredictable, especially if you're just doing it just through organic means alone. What ends up happening is that either you don't get enough people to attend a live event, whether it's a challenge, a masterclass, etc., or that those who attend, now the conversion rate is lower. And you may have a wonderful, awesome, great launch, and you're like, boom, let's double down, let's do more ad spend, etc. Next one. And then you do it again, and then all of a sudden it's a big flop, and it hurts, and it puts you back in a hole. And then we're like, man, we got to recoup money again. And we want to get off that cycle, right? Because what happens is that we're just relying on hope. I hope this launch is going to do well. I hope this content is going to do good. And we want to have some more predictability. The other problem is that there's often where this battle between organic versus paid. Now, what I mean by that is that there are those out there who are just like, hey, you got to go all in on organic, and then those where you got to go all in on paid, and it's become like where you have these organic agencies and then these these paid advertising agencies, and there's just one or the other. It's like, oh, you got to do paid, or no, you got to do organic. And what I like to do is say that's a problem because the thing is with marketing, underneath the branch of marketing, you have paid and you have organic. And they should work synergistically. What I'm going to show you today is a way to be able to mesh both of them so that way you're getting the best of both worlds and you're creating an ecosystem that's continuously feeding your business. And you have this conveyor belt, so to say, of just consistent, high quality leads that's starting to come in. And you don't have a lead generation problem. You don't have a conversion problem. What you're looking for now is like, hey, I got a problem. I need more team members. I need more people to support what I'm doing because I'm growing so much. And that's the position that we want to get into, okay? So who is Gas? Grow Automate Scale is a company. I'm Arfan, the co-founder of Grow Automate Scale, and I've been running ads for many years now. I started in 2018 when I ran ads for our business at the time. My spouse was building a business coaching online business coaching business, and I had totally green. I had no idea, I had no concept of anything behind it, and I started learning from the ground up of what it means to actually build a business. And I came across learning about ads. So while she was doing all these things, and it was like constantly from like almost 8 o'clock in the morning to like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, I was like, wow, this is a lot of time just to be able to get a handful of leads. So I started diving into ads, and we did a few launches. And what happened was that all that effort that was going in organically, it was very much like we just sit back and relax because the ads were doing the same thing. And we learned that, hey, there's actually a really great system to be able to leverage ads at 5, 10, 15, $20 a day, and then be able to scale it up to multiple hundreds per day to be able to get results. So over the years, I've analyzed millions of dollars of ad spends, millions of dollars of revenue generated for clients and those who I consult with. And what happened is that across many niches, I've observed these patterns that all played out. And it's things that I've suspected also as I was learning about ads. And I'm going to share a little bit about that. Well, actually, I'm going to share as much as I possibly can with you today. What ends up happening is that I've been doing this since 2018. I've been in marketing for throughout college and etc. Even while I was working corporate jobs, I've been in marketing. So I'm trying to condense so much information into a narrow time frame that honestly it's gonna be impossible for me to tell you every single thing. So I do hope that you just continue following me on Instagram, continue following me on Facebook, friend request me, and over time you'll be able to gain more and more clarity on this process. And even if today it sounds like, hey, I want to learn more, I'll give you an opportunity just to work with me for just a quick complimentary audit to be able to look at what you have going on and giving insights as far as how we can implement the same system for your business, whether we work together or not. Okay, so if that all sounds good, I'm going to be moving forward. I see that I can't actually see who's in the room, but I know there's probably someone live with us right now. So if you want to use the chat feature and you share a little bit, talk to me, that's cool. I have the chat open. I just can't see names unless you chat. Okay, so um, drop your name, where you're tuning in from, and who do you serve? What level of parenting, so to say, do you help with? Okay. So what you're going to walk away with today is very, very simple. My promise is this. You're going to be able to see a simple paid advertising system that runs in the background. As I break it down, there's pieces to it, but once these individual pieces are all put together, this is where you have the system, and it becomes really simple because it's things that you are already doing. You're just not really leveraging it in your advertising, and we're going to change that today. Okay, so how this training is different, I'm going to be focusing on strategy over tactics. Tactics is like, how do I set up my audience targeting, and how do I what options do I select on my ad? Do I use AI features or not to be able to kind of tactically manipulate the ad account manager? Over my years, that doesn't work. It always fails. If we rely on tactic, what happens as soon as Meta changes something, boom, tactic's done, ad is all done. And whatever scale is built, it's all gone. When we focus on strategy, this is the longevity. No matter what happens, and I've been in Meta has done many changes over the years, especially in the past 2 3 years with AI coming out. There's so much have happened to tactics that what I've observed is that strategy trumps every single thing possible all across the board. There is a need for tactic, yes, but strategy is where it's going to be at. We want to value clarity over complexity. Complex systems. This is a beef I have with a lot of agencies, organic agencies, and even paid ads agencies. They try to make things so complex so that way, any lead feels like, oh, I need to hire you because this is too complex for my understanding. That's not the case. Once you have clarity, if you choose to implement this yourself, by all means, I'm happy that you can be able to spread your message, be able to help people out. That's the goal. If we choose to work together, fantastic. We'll be able to kind of take that burden, make it easier for you, and that extra 5 10 hours a week that you may have to invest into your marketing. Now you're saving that plus more, depending on what budget level we're at. Okay. And of course, systems over hustle. No one ever wakes up and is like, man, I really want to hustle today. It's like a mindset. It's like, well, we gotta hustle. But no one wakes up saying that I want to hustle. It's like, no, I want to have systems that work for me so that way I can do the things I enjoy, right? Where spending time with our family, going on trips, going on vacation, just relaxing, or just doing things that we truly want to do that fuels us up. Okay. So let's dive in, right? The first thing is the gas system overview, and this is what shares a new opportunity. And the reason why is because I haven't seen this being shared anywhere. I've spent over $250,000 in mentoring for masterminds and so forth, and a lot of times they don't even talk about this. They talk about pieces of it, but they don't go into the full details of it. Now, I developed this called the gas system because my company is called Grow, Automate, Scale, and what we do is we just put the gas down so that way you can start getting more acceleration in your business. So let's break this down. Grow. Grow is using ads to build trust, to build list growth. People are going to get familiar with your brand. And what happened is that now you start becoming a leader in the industry. Even if that you're being a leader to just a handful of small people of 500,000 or so, we're not talking about having millions and millions of followers and millions of people on our list. That's not the case. We hit multiple six figures with less than 500 people on our email list. A lot of our clients hit six figures with less than 1,000, 2,000 people on their email list. And by the time they're at 10,000, 15, 20,000, their business is in multiple six figures already. Because it's about doing it correctly and doing it right because you're building a brand, you're building trust. And as a result of that, you're building a list of people who trust you and are familiar with you. Now, this is the next piece. The grow is about getting engagement and conversions to work together. Okay, so engagement often we think of that as the organic stuff, and then conversions we think of that as the paid ad stuff. Or if we're trying to do it all at the same time, it could feel overwhelming and confusion because we're trying to separate this out in our mind, and that's not what we want to do. We want to be able to really focus on getting this to work together. Okay. The next thing is the automate. The automation process of this is where you're entering in an ecosystem that nurtures and converts, where ads are working even when you're offline. So you're getting sales and leads coming in even at nighttime, even on content that you're producing weeks before. So it's not always just relying on that short burst of content, but getting in content that comes in consistently. All right. So here's the thing. Um, we want to have this, okay? We want to basically be able to have this in implemented and running so that way we're seeing that conveyor belt strategy start working. We're seeing people start coming into our pipeline and we're being able to fill up our programs without having to struggle and worry where am I getting leads from and if I'm getting enough leads because this comes a scale portion. And when we talk about scale, scaling has a lot to do with optimization instead of reinvention. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're trying to take the strategy that we know is going to work and we want to optimize it. So that way, and I'm going to talk through the KPIs of optimization here in a second. So we're going to scale what already works to chasing new ideas. Because when we're chasing new ideas, what ends up happening is that we don't gain any sort of momentum for things that are already working. Next is that we want to reframe ads as an infrastructure, not a promotion because promotions are often short-lived. And what happens is that I come across a lot of accounts where I audit or clients that I end up working with where they're just doing these promotions and boosting posts and hoping for the best. Or when they're running ads, it's all about promotions, all about just launching, and there's nothing else that's really happening to build an infrastructure. And I want to talk about building an infrastructure. So the second thing is the ad process, right? So let's talk about the ad process. I went through to grow, automate, scale. So let's look at what the ads are going to look like. Again, we're talking about strategy, okay? I'm not going to be going into the ads manager or sharing like a screenshots of the steps of like, hey, one, two, three, this is how you set up your ads. That's a topic I'm training for another time. This is more about the strategy of how you could start enrolling more parents into your program, okay? So awareness. This is the biggest one. A lot of people shy away from using awareness because it's something that doesn't really give a specific tangible results because they're not using it to get a tangible result, but we're going to be using it that way. So awareness has to do with using the reels that you already have, the static posts that you're already doing, and any type of video that you have and turning it into an ad. And what this means is that it's going to help to build brand. People are going to familiar with your brand and it's going to build your non-email audience. One thing a lot of people don't know is that Facebook, the pixel actually keeps and tracks everybody that interacts with your brand for 1 year. So this is like it's an invisible list, right? You don't really see this. It's not something that you have. You don't go to your CRM and send an email out. It's just like an invisible list. And what happened is that if we're not really thinking about this, we're not really going to be warming people up. So this is an opportunity for us to warm up our audience before we ask for anything. We want to get them to know us. Eugene Schwartz in his popular book Breakthrough Advertising broke down the concept of awareness. And he broke it down into 5 stages. Number one is unaware. This is where people don't even know they have a problem. They have no idea they have a problem. They have no idea any of that. The next thing is problem aware. Now they're aware of their problem, but they don't, that's all. They're like, oh, I got this problem. I can't sleep at night. I have this problem. I got this problem. Then they move into solution. They become solution aware. It's like, okay, I know I have a problem. This is my problem. And these are the like there's a solution out there. Now the next thing is become product aware. So it's like, no, okay, I have this problem. There's a solution out there. And now these are all the different people that have a product that's going to help me with my problem, right? They're providing a solution. Now, the next is the most aware. And if you want to guess, most aware are typically the clients. They're the ones who know, like they found out their problem, they found a solution, they saw the product on the market of who's available to help them out, and they purchased one of that. We want them now to do that for you, for your product, for your offers, right? We want to get them warmed up before they ask for anything. So we want to take someone that's completely unaware, whether they're unaware of their problem and they're unaware of you. So there's two things. They're unaware of the problem. We want to like help them become aware of their problem. And as they become aware of their problem, also that there's a solution and that is your solution, your product. Okay. There are already those who are already problem aware. Now we want to take these people and we want to have them become solution aware. And when they're solution aware, they also become product aware. Right. And hopefully you can start seeing how this goes because now we also want to put out stuff that's going to be for those who are actively seeking a solution. So we want to have videos that's speaking to people at the different levels of awareness they are. Because what happened is that before you even ask them to purchase my product, you're giving them the information they need and they're now trusting you. Okay. Audience growth looks a lot like this. It can look a lot like having a few different campaigns. We're using Instagram posts or cold traffic. That's the screenshot was a little bit more into it. We've been running this for quite a while. And as you can see here, these are very low costing type of campaigns. So for example, the Instagram post and the engagement campaigns is costing us a penny per through play and a penny per post engagement. So essentially, this is building an invisible list for a penny a piece. And we have all these people now that we're going to be able to retarget into our conversion event, which I'm going to talk about here in a little bit more. So you can see here we have almost 1,600 link clicks, over 281,000 people who have played a video, and the throughput is 15 seconds. So they've watched a video for over 15 seconds. Over 1.2 million people who've actually not only saw a post, but they've engaged with our posts. Whether they liked it, they commented, or they became a follower. This is growing our audience at a very, very high level. And you can see this is something that's being run over a course of time at a much lower budget. As you can imagine, it's costing a penny for interaction. So you can see a dollar, two, three, four, $5 actually goes a long way. Now we're spending a lot more on these. However, that goes a long way, and it helps to build a lot of people who become aware in many different levels of the business. Because that's when we move now into conversion, and this is where we're going directly into list building. So all these people that have been interacting with all these videos, we want to take them now into the next step. And that next step is that we want you to actually now sign up for something that has a clear sales trigger. What can that sales trigger be? This can be the form of a free workshop, a paid workshop, a self-liquidating paid low ticket offer, $4.95 ebook, a $10 ebook, a $27 course. Anything. It could be so many that like it's what you have available or what you're able to create. And we got to think of our ideal client in there. My favorite is to do the Evergreen workshop, a pre-recorded 30 to 45-minute workshop that has a very clear sales trigger. Because again, we're going to take them to that next thing. We want to again go through back again the spectrum of unaware, problem aware, solution, product, and most aware. And that's the clearest sales trigger. We want you now to sign up for our product because that's what we want. We want you to purchase, whether it's a service that you're booking a call or you're actually buying something for X price. We want to have that sales trigger. This right here works when you have a live or evergreen webinar, workshop as the core asset, because this is what also helps to convert the best. Because if you're taking someone through watching content to become aware, but now they can actually come to interact with you in a live setting or even an evergreen setting, it becomes an asset that's going to be a big sales conversion point in the journey. And we start we start turning our attention from Instagram, from the content to now email subscribers and buyers because that's what we're having. Every lead that comes in is a potential buyer. At any given moment, only about 3 or so percent of your email list is ready, willing, and able to buy. If you think about it, over the course of a year, that's quite a bit of conversions that could be left on the table if we're not turning our attention now to those people who are actually most aware. They're product aware, they're most aware, and it's either they purchase or they haven't purchased yet. And we want to make sure that we're consistently communicating with them, letting them know that the offer is available so that way they can purchase. Now, we don't just do that every single time because they're going to ignore it. So there's some strategy that goes further beyond that, but this is the machine that you want to create. Because if you have an email list of people that are ready, willing, and able to buy, you never have to really worry about income coming in. You're worried now about like how do you scale? How do you continue growing? How do I build a team to support this? How do I now automate my lifestyle so that way I'm only working 2, 3 hours a day, etc. And that's the goal. That's what we want to get to. We want to have an ecosystem. We want to build a machine that's getting us leads, getting us sale, and consistently doing it, right? So essentially how live and evergreen webinars fit inside the same system is really just about how you do it. So if you're doing a live, a lot of these content is going out beforehand. You're doing the best you can to build an email list. Now when you go onto when we're doing a live webinar, a lot of people that's going to be coming already have information about you. They're no longer just totally unaware, or they're no longer just problem aware. They're now actually more solution aware, and they're higher up the spectrum. The higher up the spectrum they are of awareness, the more likely they are to convert. So now this is where you start seeing that, wow, I'm actually getting an 8% conversion, a 10% conversion, because you're capturing more and more of those hot people, not cold people, more and more people who are hot to purchase because you're meeting them when they're cold and you're taking them to the journey to become a hot lead and you start seeing more sales, more conversions. Okay. So how this actually works, this is a little screenshot. We've been doing this for like, this is the past 6 months on one of our accounts. And this is just something that is an evergreen. This was done live before and it just became an evergreen. And we're running these in a combination of, these are actually a freebie, but we're actually optimized for purchases because what happened is that it's so good, right? It's so good. Like the way the entire system is set up is that we're capturing the leads to this previous one right here. All these people now are now being funneled into the masterclass, and we're optimizing it because we want to see who we're going to purchase. And it's a $297 offer, and you can see the ROAS on these is just off the wall ROAS. Over 3.5 return on ad spend have generated, spent 100,000, have generated close to $400,000 just off of implementing this ecosystem. It becomes more than a full-time salary just from your ads alone. Okay, so let's talk about the KPIs because okay, this is all great. This is the whole ecosystem. We can build this out. We can implement this using an evergreen workshop. Fantastic. But what KPIs? How do we know this is going to work, right? Because nothing ever works for everybody. So we want to be able to know how do we optimize something for work, right? So a couple of things. The grow phase, your KPIs, you need to be for your cost per engagement. You can see the screenshot I put. Everything was a penny, right? It's a penny, a penny, a penny. That's essentially where you want to be. However, at the beginning, you may not be there yet. Your content may not be you may put something out, but the audience doesn't respond in the way we hope. So, but by the beginning, you want to have your cost per engagement under 20 cents and your cost per throughput under 20 cents. It has to be under 20 cents or it's not going to work, period. Okay. So if it's above this number, what happens is that you have a mixed match somehow, meaning that the message you're putting out, the audience receiving it, that they don't really care for it. And it's either you're speaking to them at way too high a level on awareness, and you got to back it down a little bit, maybe go more to unaware and problem aware before you go straight to solution and product aware because you're paying for more expensive traffic. And what happened is that there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's just that the math doesn't play out in the end. Because what happened is that now it's harder to get a return on ad spend, and it's more like you're losing money or breaking even. So we need to get these numbers less. Okay. The next thing is cost per lead. If you notice, I don't have any numbers or benchmarks here. And the reason why is because these actually have to work with the ecosystem, not be something that you have to aim towards. So if I say your cost per lead needs to be $5, what happens is that you can have a wonderful and a great ad that does a 3 to 4 or 5x return on ad spend that is converting at maybe $10 cost per lead. But because I say it needs to be five, it's not good enough, and they're shutting that off. And that's not the case. What happened is that you have to go based off of the metrics and based off of the conversion. The cost per lead that works for you and works for your ecosystem. Some of our clients that happens to be $5. Some of them it has to be $10. Some of times our cost per lead is 25 or $30 depending on the niche. The whole thing is that it has to work in the ecosystem, and you can almost guarantee that if you have an offer that is more high ticket, chances are you're probably also going to pay a little bit more for a cost per lead. So those factors really, really play a big role in it. Next thing is webinar registration and attendance. This is also something that's really important. You need to be above a 20% registration. If less than 20% of people are registering for the webinar, we have a problem. It's not an interesting enough topic, or there's not enough of a market mix to be able to consistently advertise this and be able to scale it. So that's an interesting thing. You have to be above 20%. Attendance rate as well, you want to be above 20% attendance rate. So if you have 100 people register, at least 20 of those people are attending the live webinar. Anything less than that, again, is not really scalable because you're not really going to be able to convert enough. When we say the conversion rate is about 3% across the board, well, if you get 100 people, but only 10 or so show up, you're not really going to see those numbers play out. So we need to be that. And of course, your front end offer performance, we do need this to be about a 3% conversion rate. So if you have a course or a call or anything, you want to get about a 3% conversion rate. Because if not, what ends up happening is that the math is not going to work out. Okay, so you want to have these numbers here. Next is your scale KPI. And this is where you want to definitely know your break even point. Every account is different, every offer is different. Some accounts we have typically is set up to break even on day one. I can start running ads right now, and if everything goes well within KPI, we're going to break even on ad spend on day one. Now we have several accounts where this is the case. Others, the break-even point is much later, maybe 30 days later, 60 days later. And this is the case of some of the coaches we work with who only do group cohorts. They do nothing else but group cohorts, and the cohorts are a specific period of time. So we may be generating leads in January and February and March, but the cohort doesn't open in April. So it's those 3 months before anything happens, and we need to know what is our break-even point, meaning that how many clients do we need to sign up in order to even break even? And there becomes multiple goals. So we know that, hey, with all the costs that we're going to be putting out, we need to at least have 20 people for this to be break even, meaning that this is what it costs us for ad spend, what it costs us to run the program, what it costs us to get materials, etc. That way we know the idea of like where the break even point is. And then we also know what's the ROAS across the ecosystem. So what is the ROAS that we get from the beginning if we have an ad that's break even one day or break even across 2 3 months? And then what's the ROAS in the long term, the continuity growth over 6, 9, 12 months or even 2 years? What is that return on ad spend? It becomes something that can be somewhat difficult to track sometimes depending on your CRM and your system. However, once you have the ecosystem built out, these are the things that start happening. You start looking at like, oh man, how much ROAS did I have 12 months after the fact? Because what happened is that, like, so for example, one of our clients, we run a membership and the membership is only opened up twice a year. So throughout the entire year, it was always lead generation, lead generation. It became this very, very high pressure sales period where it's like the open cart depended on everything. If it didn't go well, it was like boom, we got to stop advertising, have to wait, got to kind of rebuild the funds. It was not very good. So we introduced a break even campaign with the same ecosystem. So then when we opened up the membership now, everything else that came in from that was all just return on ad spend from previous audience building. And now they're in the membership as a continuity growth. So there was never a point where like it just dipped down in revenue. It was always up, 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 up in revenue, and then it was like a big up. And I was like, boom, another 120 members just signed up. And those members are going to stay on average in that program 9 months. So 6 months later, we're opening up the program again. So we're always outgrowing churn. We're always growing that community and we're always growing the business because now after the membership, there's other one-on-one offers and things like that that people sign up for. And this is where it's like, this is how the machine works. This is how the system works in the long run. Okay. So essential KPIs for the gas system, you want to reframe KPIs as safety signals, not pressure. And that's why I said, if I gave you a number of like, you got to be under $5 cost per lead, for certain niches, you are not going to get under $5 cost per lead, right? If someone else tells you otherwise, they're giving you hope. And sometimes it's great to have hope, but it could be false hope because again, if your niche is such that you're targeting a high income professional for a very, very specific thing, well, your KPI, if you set a KPI that's very high pressure, you may not hit it, and that ends up causing disruption across that account. Okay, so you want to look at it as safety signals, not pressure. And when you want to develop these KPIs internally for your business, not go off of KPIs for me or KPIs for somebody else, KPIs for your business, right? That's going to make it work for you. And these numbers start telling you how you can optimize versus scale. Okay, so again, for example, if the webinar registration is below 20%, well, you can't scale. This is the optimization point, right? If your cost per lead, if you know that, hey, with my numbers, if my cost per lead is below $15, I'm good to go. That's scale. Now it's like, hey, I'm getting an $8 cost per lead. Boom, let's scale it up because we can afford to scale and have our cost per lead increase to 12, to 13, to 14. Because when you scale, your cost per lead tend to increase. This really, I mean, I've been doing this for over 6 years now. Have audited hundreds of accounts. Have worked with dozens of accounts. We manage accounts currently, and that's always been the case. Anytime you scale, costs go up. It's very, very very rare you scale and then cost goes down. I've seen it happen maybe like once or twice in my career, scaling by 10, 15, $20,000, and the cost per lead maintains or continues lower. And typically, these are businesses that are very global. We're targeting the US, the Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, all English-speaking countries. So just to kind of give you an idea of what to realistically expect. Okay, so there's two things, right? There's knowing versus implementing. You can go through this and be like, hey, this sounds great having an ecosystem. It this sounds like there's a lot of moving pieces to it. I'm not sure, but it's like, okay, implementing is now, hey, I'm gonna put this into action. I want to actually put this on out of my head and onto paper. I want to start off first, even if it's just saying like, hey, I got these 4 or 5 organic content that I have on Instagram. And I'm gonna now turn these into an awareness ad for $1 each, right? So you got $5 a day and you're running something. And then like, a few weeks later is now, hey, I'm gonna actually get people to now sign up for my live webinar that I'm doing, or for something, a freebie or something, anything that you have. So you're bringing all these people that have been watching your videos now to actually sign up for something, right? That's implementing. And they can be done at a low level of just like 5, 10, 15, $20 a day. Okay. Now, our option is also to actually work with someone like myself who can help you to implement, whether it's doing it all for you, like, hey, I want to be spending $100 a day in ads. We're doing well organically, but I want to take this into a predictable system and I want to implement. I want to spend even maybe $400 or $500 a day or $1,000 a day on ads, and I want to do it right. This is where you can be able to have a team that can support you. And this is for you, again, if you are ready to have a team that can support you and you're looking to get off the content hustle. You're looking to get off of doing everything yourself. You can definitely just, see what it's like to work with us. So go to rfmc.com/start, book a free audit call. And what I'll do is I'll be able to sit with you, take a look at what you have going on, the pieces you have, your content, your ad account, things like that, and be able to put together an exact blueprint so you can know exactly how you can actually implement the gas system into your business so you can start building that ecosystem and you can stop relying only on organic, stop relying on the pressure of having the algorithm push your content out, and you can start now getting more and more conversions. Okay, so if that sounds good for you, go ahead and just type it in, rfmc.com/start. It's a short application, and you can schedule a time to book a call with me, and we'll be able to go for that. So if you ever have any questions, hit reply to the email, drop a comment on the video, whatever the case may be. And I look forward to interacting with you and seeing how we can help you out with this. And with that being said, thank you all so much for signing up, registering, and joining this training. And I will catch you all next time. Bye bye.